I want to make this video just to tell you my story. So a few days ago, I felt a little funky, kind of sick. So I went to get tested for coronavirus, COVID-19, and I got my results this morning.
And we're reporting that you have tested positive for COVID-19. You should immediately notify your employer.
I had a pretty good idea that I did have it. I just wanted to confirm that it was coronavirus. The first symptoms I had, this was like 8 days ago, something like that. It was an itchy throat. I felt something funky in my throat. You know, those times that you go like, a couple times. And then later that day, I started feeling pretty tired. That was my very first two symptoms. That was a Sunday, and I made a plan to go the next day to get tested. And so the next day, I developed more of a cough, a dry cough, and a little bit of a headache. That was my next symptoms. And then I did go and I made a line, 45 minutes in my car. This is how the test went. Basically, the lady told me that it was gonna be uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, she said. And she said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Yes." Then she put a swab through my nose, but really deep, like it went all the way to my throat. And it was quick, in and out. Feeling the swab all the way in my throat, it feels very weird. And so I just went like, that was horrible. And she said, "I told you it was gonna be uncomfortable." They told me that in 5 days I would get my results. So I went home, and then my wife made me a couple of teas, and I went to rest. I lay down, and my headache it started getting worse. Extreme tiredness the rest of that day. And then I went to sleep. So around 2 a.m. I woke up with a fever, and that kind of confirmed to me that this was most likely the virus, the coronavirus, because that was one of the symptoms that I was just missing. I'm not gonna lie, I did panic a little bit. I started having all these thoughts. Oh, what if I die? What if I give it to my family? What if I give it to my kids? All these thoughts can make you very agitated. When I started feeling the adrenaline rush from all these thoughts, and I was reading that one of the symptoms that it should be a trigger for you to go to the hospital is when you have problems breathing. I was like, okay, so am I having difficulty breathing because of the virus or because of the fear that I suddenly feel? So it's important not to panic, because then you can get confused like that. So a good thing that, my wife was able to calm me down and say like, "Hey, it's gonna be okay. Don't panic." I went back to bed. The next morning, I spoke to a friend of mine who had the virus. And so she gave me some good advice how to deal with it. She said, just drink a lot of fluids, rest a lot. She actually told me to switch back and forth between Advil and ibuprofen every 4 hours while I had a fever. I was in bed the whole day. My kids, I could hear them behind the door. They wanted to come in. They wanted to see Papi. They wanted to see Daddy. We decided that I was gonna be isolated in the room. My wife kept bringing liquids. She kept bringing water, tea, and food. The day of the fever, that was a very painful day. And when I say painful, this is what I felt. My throat hurt a little. It was a headache. I felt like my head was gonna explode. It was really intense headache. Once the Advil kicked in, it felt way better. And that's when my headache kind of went away. And I think that it was the headache what made it either really bad or okay. Eventually I came out of the room. I still had a headache the next day, but not so bad anymore. The muscle pain, standing up from the bed, I could feel the pain just even in my feet. I had a backache for like a couple of days, 2 or 3 days. Neck pain. My wife ended up getting sick too, unfortunately. And I told her to go into the room and, repeat the whole process that I had. Now I had to take care of her and bring liquids to her and food and watch the kids, but I wasn't recovered yet. So that was a very difficult day for me because I was in bed the previous day. After that, it was just extreme tiredness, a little bit of a cough, backache, and muscle pain. So that's pretty much what I went through. So here's my advice to you on what to do if you're in this situation. I think that the most important thing, it was to stay hydrated. Thanks to my wife bringing all these liquids. It's not only accepting the liquids, but it's actually drinking them. manage your fever. That's important because that's how you deal with your headache, and it's just not good to have a high fever for a long time. Do not panic, okay? Regarding the results, I got a phone call after 5 days like they said they would, but there was no sound, and when I called back, I couldn't get through them. And then the next day was Sunday, so I couldn't get through them either. So I had to wait actually 7 days. This morning I called right when they opened at 8 a.m. and it said the waiting time was 3 minutes, and I waited 50 minutes. So finally was able to talk to them, and yeah, they confirmed that I tested positive for it. As soon as you have any kind of symptoms, I would advise that you go and get tested, just because it's gonna be a while until you find out if you have it for sure. Another advice that you should know, and that is controversial, believe it or not, is the mask, just wear it. If you're gonna be around other people, wear a mask, I went through it like if it was just any other virus, but not everyone has that. Remember that some people may die from it. So if we are talking about the difference between life and death here, the possibility of death for someone, might as well just wear the damn mask, or darn mask. Sorry for cursing. I'm fine now, and I just have the tail end cough, and in a few days I'll be a fully percent, so 100%. Take it easy. I'll see you soon. Be safe.
Always remember to keep your 6 feet or more from others, including others in your home, and please contact your healthcare provider if you develop any symptoms, such as a fever, shortness of breath, a cough, or loss of smell or taste, okay?
Okay, thank you. I already went through that last week.